You know who's in shock and horror right now? Me.
Chains of custody. You fought a war in 1961 to 64 to throw off the chains. So no chains is needed anymore in America.
Prior to that, prior to interviewing Ms. McCabe, by the way, that was at Ms. McCabe's home, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Even though you believe that there may have been a physical altercation, you didn't ask anybody to come down to the station. Is that right?
No.
Any of the witnesses?
That's correct.
And you did not seek to actually go to the physical location of 34 Fairview in those next few hours?
That's correct.
Or the next few days, correct?
Not myself, no.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Trooper Proctor did not either, did he?
No, he did not.
Oh.
You never took any photos of the interior of the house, correct?
I did not know.
You never caused CSSS to go inside the house and process that house as a potential crime scene, correct?
I did not, no.
No forensic criminalist at your direction ever went into 34 Fairview?
No, they did not. First portion is we did not secure the home as a crime scene. And the second portion, yes, I do know how to do that.
And you didn't, as a Massachusetts State Police official, you didn't secure the outside as a crime scene either, did you?
I did not know.
Did anyone?
To your knowledge, nobody else from Massachusetts State Police ever did either, did they?
Yes, they did.
How was that done and when?
When members of our office and the CERT team responded to that location and secured the front yard grass area and processed it.
That was at 5:45, 6 o'clock that night on the 29th?
I believe it was earlier, but I was not present, so I can't testify to the time.
So you don't know personally what they did to quote unquote secure or not secure the crime scene. You know they searched it, but in terms of securing it as a crime scene, you don't have personal knowledge to that.
I was not present.
Okay.
I don't understand why they didn't just have Trooper O'Hara come back like the day, like on January 30th and continue the search, you know, along with that team of guys to go shoulder to shoulder or what have you, to look for evidence. Why are they doing in this sort of like lazy, we're going to drive by and see if something reveals itself? Just search the area while there's a greater likelihood of it being, I don't know, a cleaner crime scene.
Bev is the arbiter of what comes in, and Bev says it goes in.
Objection.
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
Of course he can answer it. Did he
would
think
have to
it's
repeat it. There's
suspicious?
so much I
Of
can't.
course he can
There was a
answer
little-
that.
There was a little wording. I'll try it again. Did you find that suspicious?
Which part? You have to repeat the whole thing.
That Chief Berkowitz from the conflicted Canton PD was at 34 Fairview looking for evidence.
The way you posed the question, I did not find it suspicious at all. He's the chief of the police in the town where he works, and he's driving down the street. I mean, that's not suspicious.
With
It's not a
conflict
main
of interest
street.
on the very case that he's driving by.
Objection.
Sustained.
We saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass, closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the snow adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures documented where the hat was.
No, you never
It was
showed
to the
us.
right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object? Like, for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant. 27 inches to the north and a foot and a half to the south of those two known points. That would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were
Shouldn't everything
collected.
be photographed?
But again, and the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023,
What?
year and a half, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
Do you need Alan Jackson to keep going down this trail, or are you already just like, okay, so you just went and picked stuff up and put it in evidence bags, but you didn't document where it was? It was just in a 30 square foot radius. Okay.
So my question was, especially as it relates to the February 10th search, where there were multiple items found, did you seek to have CSSS come out and actually either mark with GPS coordinates or measure with cross coordinates exactly where each item of evidence was found?
We did not do that. We had collected so much evidence already, and so much has been
evidence.
documented at that point
So
that we
much
did not
evidence.
contact crime scene services to come back out and photograph more shards of glass and plastic. We simply collected it for processing.
So the location.
Wow. Wow. Did you see him looking right at the jury? We had collected so much evidence on our double drive-bys a day. Because we, as a matter of course, drove by there twice a day. We did a drive-by, morning and night, on my way home and on my way there, because it's on my way home. Those were planned drive-bys. We collected so much evidence that it wasn't important to call the crime scene team in just to take pictures of some more pieces of evidence. Wow.
Because again, whether you believe the defense's theory of the case or not, does anyone think that this was done well? And it not being done well might be the problem for all of the jurors. They might be like, look, I don't know if it is a massive cover-up or if it's just incompetence, but it doesn't matter at this point, because how do you convict someone when this is what they're doing? Like, where are those things? Like, a picture of a piece of thing in snow gives me no context to where it came from.
I don't understand why they had this sort of this other approach of like, well, we'll come back in a week, we'll come back in a few days, we'll come back, then long after snow has been melting. I don't know. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. These responses they're not convincing me that what they did was the proper way of doing things to get the evidence that they needed in a way that was methodical, in a way that people can objectively trust.
But I don't know if Alan needs to keep going, because they're like, no, we didn't need crime scene to come out and do it. Nah, we're fine. Maybe you need them to come out to ask them where they shoveled that snow to, because they were shoveling out tons of snow. So evidence could have moved.
Got to do a grid search. But for every day forward, you need to drive by to see if any more evidence will reveal itself. It's like a scavenger hunt.
And now we're back to the same question.
Oh my God, I'm so frustrated by this.
Your word for vicinity might be different than my word for vicinity, right?
Objection.
Right.
Sustained.
But that's right. It's just not a good investigation.
When you recover these items, or any other items, it's obviously important to memorialize on the evidence bag or in some other way
Where it's
exactly
found.
where they're found, who found them, the date, time, etc. Correct?
Yeah.
We do the best we can to document all known information on each evidence item bag.
You know what? You could have had more known information if somebody had measured things. There's a curb line. Measure from the curb line. The curb line's a constant. The flagpole and the fire hydrant don't seem like they're going anywhere. There are plenty of things to measure from. You can't just... why does it feel to me, this is what this feels like? Did you guys... Well, I grew up at the beach, but I'm sure that people do this elsewhere. I grew up at the beach, and we used to do like trash pickup days for like school and for community service and stuff for school.
So you guys had a list of things that you needed to find. It was on the scavenger hunt list. and you were just going to drive by to see if any evidence had revealed itself. Because that's what evidence does, just reveals itself from the great beyond. It's like a scavenger hunt, and they've got the items of what they need to retrieve. All right, guys, we need a sneaker. We need taillight pieces. We need a hat. Go.
This is what this feels like. Like they're just going through the grass, just picking stuff up, and they're like, whatever, it just goes in the bag. I'm so annoyed.
Bagged at the time.
And in terms of the February 10th search,
We only
I wanna just ask you
document
a
what
couple
we
quick
measure, and
questions
we don't
about
measure
that evidence
everything.
bag. Did you bag the items into a single evidence bag that you found that day, or do you recall?
I would have to see the bag. If you have those available,
there's a
I'll take a
photo.
look. I can answer
With
that.
the court's permission, exhibit, I think it's 310.
Some of that is from the lab, and we saw those pictures.
Okay.
You're looking at a photograph of what was previously entered in evidence as 310. Can you see that from just the portion of the right?
Zoom in, enhance.
Where you're at, I don't have. the evidence
34
bag,
Fairview
so
Road.
I can just ask space to enlarge it.
If you can enlarge it, please.
For who knows where. Collected by Sergeant Buchanan.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting is. I cannot confirm that that's his handwriting.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, though.
So
Oh,
What the actual hell?
so forged, huh?
are you aware that
Nope.
this particular bag,
I swear to you, if somebody had brought this investigation into my office, I would have screamed at them. I mean, like, what are you doing?
Always, when you ask all these questions that in a normal case would probably raise some suspicions, remember, if you don't think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah, don't think about it, guys.
taking a look at that evidence bag, it has.
Just all went in one bag.
The information on it has your name is collected by, correct?
Correct.
The date of collection is February 10th, is that right?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what it says.
And it indicates multiple pieces of
If there was a report, it would be helpful.
red, black, and clear plastic, right? It actually says 6 pieces. As a matter of fact, that's Trooper Proctor's handwriting.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's handwriting is. I cannot confirm that that's his
I
handwriting.
don't buy that.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, though.
How many cases have y'all worked together? How many cases have y'all worked together? You're his supervisor. You've never seen his writing before. I mean, it is the most cop writing I've ever seen with everything in caps, so it can't be, it can be easily read, but
Your handwriting.
really?
It is not my handwriting, though.
Look, as a mom, you're not fooling anyone.
It
And
wasn't
stop.
the Roblers, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm saying the Roblers did not come in and forge his name. Proctor did, just like my youngest, most feral, will not convince me that ninjas came in and wrote his name in permanent marker on the wall. It was a frame up.
So are you aware that this particular bag, that bag that contained those 6 items of plastic material that you already deemed was incredibly important to the investigation, was never put into any evidence until March 14th, the date that it was submitted to the crime lab?
I was not aware of that, no.
You would just think, if nothing else, that at this point they know that this man is a fallen police officer. You would think there would at least be a modicum of maybe we go above and beyond. Maybe we just go the extra step. Maybe we just roll out CSSS and try to make sure that everything in this investigation goes well. If this is how they treat this victim, I have concerns about what other investigations look like, because it's just so frustrating.
So where was it the whole time? Guess we're going to have to ask Proctor.
There it is again. Yet another suggestion. We should be hearing from Trooper Proctor. It's like the defense is like they're baiting the prosecution with all of these suggestions, which is totally fair game, right? Because I mean, it's legitimate to be pointing out the chain of custody of this evidence. Who is the best person to testify on this? The person who gathered it, the person who signed for it, all that kind of stuff. So it's like Jackson's like poking at Lally, like, hey, call him. We want to hear from him. We want to bring him up.
I'm talking about a physical log, like sign in, sign out log. Where's the log?
It's documented in the reports saying that we collected him.
I know that there's a report. Anybody can write a report, right? I can write a report. Doesn't mean anything. I'm asking for a log.
Objection.
So the objection sustained.
Okay. Of course it's the
Obviously,
same.
when items move in
There's
and
no
out of
log.
people's custody, did you leave that assuming that Trooper Proctor would document that?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
I'll ask it another way if I can. Did you believe that you didn't need to write a report, Sergeant, because Trooper Proctor would take care of that?
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as.
What? But I really want to hear how he's going to say that because it's documented on the bag that that's okay. That's documentation.
Yes.
Skip to the
So
part
these
that talks
undocumented
about the
searches
February
from
4th
February were not
searches.
notated in any report until November of 2023, right around the time that the defense has been screaming for all of these items of discovery. There were a lot of motion hearings in November, I believe.
I didn't realize you were finished already.
At least one big one.
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as who collected it, when, where, what it was, and a report eventually would be authored on it.
But the where, for all these very intricate pieces, the where is left to 3430.
A report would eventually be written.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Anything we collected that had evidentiary value or presented itself as somehow related to the crime or the incident would be collected.
Like
And it would be
the pickle
important.
bucket.
To the investigation, right? You treat it as important.
It is a point, yes.
Don't you see why it matters? How do you not see why it matters? I'm talking to the witness. How do you not see why it matters that apparently this taillight shattered across time and space? Where pieces are found matters. Where was the hat in relation to the victim? We don't know. There's a picture of snow.
Is that right?
That's what it says.
The general vicinity location of the other items collected and documented with photographs was consistent with the same locations this was collected.
That's not an answer.
In that 30 square foot area you're trying to tell us this was, it's more
I
than
want to
that
shift gears
from the
for
hydrant
just
to
a
the
second.
street.
Okay, so that's like me saying, yes, I live in America, but my locality would be Indiana, but I lie and say it's Kentucky. I mean,
Yeah.
they're close neighbor states. Cut the bullshit, mister.
It's like
Based
at
on
least
the
100 square
documentation
feet.
You just mentioned, but it's documented on the back. Where's the log of these items before March 14th?
It's documented in the report.
Oh,
There is no log, is there, Sergeant?
I do not know.
Um,
oh, you don't
I want to
know.
talk a little bit about
Okay.
How do you not see that it matters?
No big whoop.
I think you do know it
I want
matters.
to shift gears for just a second.
And you were trying to not.
And those would have been certainly accessible to and in the possession of the lead case officer in the case, was Trooper Proctor.
Case
Right.
officer.
Yes, if Trooper Proctor needed to review those items, he would have access to those items. Absolutely.
And you're also aware that the first actual log of any chain of custody for those items is March 14th, when they were finally submitted 6 weeks later to the crime lab.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
That is not true. The first actual log of those items is when we collected them from the hospital.
Where's the log? Those items were completely unaccounted for from a log standpoint for the entire time from when they were collected until they were booked at the crime lab, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
Possession of those items, of those fiber.
Where'd they go?
Are you talking about the items that were just displayed on the screen?
I am, sir.
I did not.
Now I'd like to shift gears to
Yeah, where did the item from the 10th go?
a ring video that you saw yesterday.
The jury has to listen to the testimony. You get to listen to the testimony and me. Yay for us. Or not, depending on how you're feeling in a given day. But generally, when things are logged into evidence, and he talked in direct examination about the evidence personnel and the evidence personnel having the only access to the evidence room, and it's logged and it's locked and it's taken care of. And that's the general procedure, that when you recover evidence in the field, you go back to the station, you take it to the evidence locker, and everything is logged in by the evidence personnel. And depending on the department, sometimes it is the officer that brings it in that logs it into the computer system. It just depends. And then it gets placed in the evidence locker. That is locked up, and very few people have access to it. It's because chain of custody matters. Where these things go matter. You have to be able to say that the thing that was recovered off the lawn is the same thing that went to the lab, is the same thing that went to court, and there was no fuckery in between. Locking it up is one of the best ways you can do it, to show that there's no fuckery, because then you can bring in the people from evidence, and then there's video of the evidence locker, and you can be like, look, no fuckery when it comes up. But not knowing when the evidence went from the road into the bag, into the locker, is a problem. And it seems that from February 10th, from the defense's cross, this may change on redirect, but from February 10th to March 14th, where is the documentation that where that evidence was kept? Because the lab gets it March 14th, but where is it in between then? And that's what he's asking about. And this witness doesn't have a lot to say. Other than, I don't know.
Yeah, this is the murder investigation of a dead brother in blue. Sir, a fellow brother in blue. And you don't think it's important to document exactly where the evidence is found? You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself that this is your murder investigation of a dead Boston police officer. Shame on you. We are outraged.